Welcome to another show of the Heartland Cycling Network. And today we've got a special guest with the Pottawattamie County Trail Association. His name is Joe Munch. He happens to be the president of the club of the organization. So, Joe, tell us a little bit about your history with the organization.
Well, I am not quite a founding member, but nearly a founding member.
Ah, okay.
Um, I was the reason I got involved initially was because I was under the city council of Neola, Iowa,
Oh,
and
okay.
it was a big rumor that this thing was happening, and they had a number of meetings. So I came to the meetings, found myself in the organization, and I had the pleasure of being the first treasurer,
Hmm.
and I was that treasurer for the entire existence of it now until about May of this year when
Wow.
I was elected as a president.
Yeah, so now you're currently president, which is the nicest title you're going to have is past president, by the way.
Sure.
So start
Depends on the
succession planning
organization.
now, you
Right.
know. So yeah, I'm past president of several organizations and I really like that title.
Yeah.
So anyhow, um, I think one of the things that I liked about um, the background that I did and that you submitted was the fact that one of the things that motivates you about cycling, even though you really don't get on a bike as a, an active participant that way, is community development, your connections, population retention. Okay, now those are all kind of high level words. Really, it's making the communities a nicer place to live and be
Yeah.
more attractive to people to come and relocate to.
Yeah. That's it exactly. Like I said, my experience with Neola, we're a small town of just under 1,000 people, and it's close to the metro, kind of a bedroom community. And but that's the thing, brain drain is the phrase that you hear a lot, and kids grow up and there's not much other than it's home. Obviously, it's always home, but the opportunities aren't necessarily there, and there's not a great amount of things that may attract them to keep them there. You're competing with the city, you're competing with all the things
Hmm.
that is offered. So especially now in modern society, you have to start figuring out ways to make it attractive for people to come and to stay.
Hmm.
And trails are a big part of that. It's
Yeah, they certainly are. I know the studies that I've read all sort of indicate that it enhances the attractiveness of the community and the desire for people to actually relocate and live there.
Yeah, for
So
sure. We
you,
you know
you,
we have great little kind of rivalries with our neighboring towns. One's outside of our school district, the others are within it, but still there's that town pride. As time goes on, we
mhm.
become more homogenous, I guess. But the trails do a lot to add to that, and that's my big motivation to try and keep making this
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of times people may not, in leadership positions, don't necessarily appreciate the fact that there are recreational opportunities, which is what most people think of the trail system for, but it's also for transportation.
Yeah, yeah,
A lot of
for
people
sure.
use that just to get back and forth to work, just go
Hmm.
out, shopping. I mean, I do that even though I'm not actively in the job market any longer.
Yeah,
But I do get on the bike to ride because, well, it's fitness, but it's also one of those things where I've got the time. I can take and ride over to the local grocery store, do some shopping, and come back.
right.
So, how is the Pottawattamie County Trail Association working with other communities or counties? What's your goals? What's going on?
Well, so our primary goal is to build a trail around Pottawattamie County. It's a huge county. It's nearly the biggest, if not the biggest county in the state.
Hmm.
So that's a lot of trail. But not only that, I'm sure you're aware. But there's a large push for trails around the country, and one of them is the Great American Rail Trail, and a
Correct.
portion of our trails already been designated as that. But
Hmm.
um, there's a lot of blank spaces in between. So kind of the target to us is the next county to the north, and then to the northeast from Pottawattamie is Harrison, and then Shelby County. Harrison has a small section that they're hoping to get built and it will be part of that trail system as well. And then on to Shelby, and then keep heading straight east from there, as ever, how things develop and how they grow. The Shelby group has got some good activity. They're making some progress. They've got some concrete on the ground and they're doing well. But Harrison County's, they're working. They got a group together. But
Mhm.
outside of those county connections and the Great American Rail Trail, the connections between the towns within Pottawattamie County, like I said, mine's Neola, Underwood's to the south of us, and then going on to Minden and be the next town to the east. And then outside of that as well are the county parks. Pottawattamie County Conservation has a number of great parks throughout our county, and that's part of the county's, the county government's position, and county conservation is a part of the county government. This was a big motivating factor for them to try to make these connections as well, tie them into the trail. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of connections and a lot of great things that can happen from it.
Yeah, well, and I understand things with that have changed, like with Mount Crescent, for example.
Yeah.
I know they're becoming, let's say, more of a destination for the mountain bikers.
Right.
Uh, Obviously, a trail system getting up there would be helpful too, and I don't know how far along that is.
Well, part of our initial phasing, we were intending to build up from Council Bluffs to Underwood and Neola, and then circle back to Council Bluffs and build up to Crescent. That was our initial plan, and it still is our general plan. But um, you know, 10 years plus now, we thought we would have a little faster progress than what we are, and that's a big motivator. And we're still exploring routes. That's the difficult part of it too, trying to carve your path.
Hmm.
It's not necessarily easy. Seems obvious, but it isn't at all.
Yeah, well, you've got to deal with landowners. That's probably one of the challenges.
Yeah.
And I'm sure funding is another big
Huge.
challenge. And I don't know, where are you getting your funds now?
So, primarily the funding that we've received, Iowa West Foundation has been a tremendous partner. They've
Hmm.
funded, I would say, about maybe half of what we've done so far. There's been state grants, state of Iowa grants, and some federal granting that we've gotten.
Hmm.
And then we have a number of private grants that are not necessarily grants, private donations. Um, and those numbers aren't as impressive as some of the others, Iowa West and the federal government, but they're they're necessary. Those are the funds that our day-to-day operations, being as far as the Trail Association, organizing with engineers and landowners, just the things it takes to to make progress.
Hmm.
That's critical for us. Those funds.
Hmm.
So we're getting there. The sections that we have planned now, we believe we have enough funding, pretty close, depending on fluctuation and inflation is a tough thing to gauge, but we believe we have enough to get our trail built to Underwood. And now we're exploring other grant opportunities. We recently partnered with Fox Creek Fundraising. They're a grant writing organization, and they're going to help us. But like I said, those private dollars, that's what's paying for those types of relationships.
Yeah. Well, that's all important. Um, so let's see. Obviously, you've got several fundraising events that you do throughout the year. Some of them are not all cycling related, which is what we talk about, but
Sure.
it's also, I mean, you've got running kind of, or I should say, I don't know if it's your organization, but there is a fundraiser that's a fun run kind of
Yep.
thing that comes
Yeah.
up.
So we have two. There's a gentleman, Matt Shipper's his name. He's a member of our group, has been for quite a long time. And he's an avid runner. And, that's what not being a cyclist necessarily myself or even a runner or anything, but I constantly try to remind our group that, hey, that we're a multi-use trail system. So we got to think outside of bicycling.
Exactly.
And bicycling is typically the obvious answer. But anyway, Matt, he puts on these runs. We have in the spring, it's a trail run. It's an off-road trail run, kind of like a cross-country run, if you will, for high school and college. But then also in the fall, he does another one. It's basically the same route, but he adds obstacles, and it's a lot of fun. He designs it to where there's heats for different abilities, even children. There's some
Hmm.
competitive classes, and then children, and it's always a fun, great, family oriented. And we
And
hold that at the
that's
Arrowhead Park.
called what? That's
It's called the Arrowhead Trail Run and the Arrowhead Obstacle Trail Run.
okay.
So,
Okay.
and it's associated with the county park, Arrowhead County Park in Pottawattamie County.
Okay.
That's where it's
Okay.
held every year.
Well, and that's one of the things that you were talking about too earlier is trying to connect all the little different county parks with the
Yeah,
trail system. I'm sure they've got little trails within the parks already,
yeah,
but just being able to travel from one location to another. And like I was saying earlier, before we started the show, is that I had done a longer ride leaving from the Bob, and we went down around Lake Manawa, and I mean on the Riverfront Trail down to Lake Manawa, and then over to the Wabash Trace, and we rode the Wabash Trace down to Malvern and back. So it was multi-surface. I mean, basically,
Right.
we're dealing with paved surface I mean, all the time within Pottawattamie County, um, until we got to the Wabash. Then that's going to be that was packed limestone, but it's a very nice trail to ride.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so unique for our community too. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the big idea of this county park is, or the county trail, is to make connections between the park, and then it's a perfectly natural way to do it. Traveling, say clockwise around the county, you would come up from Council Bluffs. There's a couple of spots there up to Arrowhead, over to the other side of the county at uh, Hancock, is where there's a park on the Nishnabotna River, and then you could go down past Oakland and McClellan, Iowa. There's another little county park, so you can make a weekend of this, riding from one to the next and camping in between,
Hmm.
and that there is tons of excitement. I've had so many people tell me how they just can't wait for these connections to start happening, and to be able to realize that it's a big, exciting adventure that they're looking forward to being able to
Well,
accomplish.
yeah, I'm kind of on the western side of the river, so
Yeah,
I know the trail system over here quite well, but I've
yeah,
been riding with some other groups and getting over into Council Bluffs, and I'm going, wow, these trails are great.
yeah,
This interconnectivity is really nice. I
yeah.
really like this. It seems like you have got a great plan going and uh, connecting these trails together so you can ride from different places. I had no idea that you could ride from the Bob down to the trailhead of the Wabash Trace. And I'm going, I did that with a group this year, and I'm going, yeah, we stopped over at the ice cream stand that's close by.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, I'll have to do that, but I'm going to have to go down the Wabash Trace because I've done that a number of times.
Hmm. Yeah. So our trail, the one we're currently building along Railroad Highway, um, we have a segment of it, and I always term it as the trail that starts and ends nowhere right now, but people use it constantly. But it will tie into that trailhead through Council Bluffs trail system. At the Wabash trailhead, you'll be able to be on paved trail all the way up to our trail, and then continue on to Neola, Underwood, and Minden, and then eventually through the Great American Rail Trail. You could eventually travel on bicycle all the way to Washington D.C. on paved trail.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I know that trail is, I can't remember what the percentage is right now. What is it? Maybe one third? Is it 50%
Yeah,
complete? I mean,
maybe. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because I know like even Nebraska, the Cowboy Trail
Hmm.
up to Valentine, but when you start going further west, that isn't developed yet.
Right. Yeah. So our goal that we hope to accomplish through our trail um, association, and then we have another thing that we developed. It's called the Fit Trail, Frontier Iowa Trail. This is one of our
Oh,
preliminary thoughts, is to try and have another organization that would organize in between organizations, and to try and get a common thread and a common theme going. So um, that's what part of our mission is to try and keep that connectivity going. And we are concentrating, not only within Pottawattamie County, but to try and assist at least to Des Moines, so you would have from the western border of Iowa to the central, the capital of the state. We try to make sure that we foster those relationships, and the Golden Hills RCD is a major player in that.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
we have a member from one of our members is in that organization as well.
Okay,
So
well,
we
that's
try to
good.
be more comprehensive about it than just local. We're trying to think
Yeah.
forward.
Well, connecting to all those different trail systems is great because then, like I said, people can take and actually bike pack and use that Great American Rail Trail. Now, from personal experience, I have ridden from Woodward down to Ankeny,
Okay.
25 miles or so,
Yeah.
one direction, all paved, very
Yep.
flat. And of course, that's going to connect up to other areas, and you can get down into Des Moines and other things, using that trail. And that's connecting up with the Raccoon, which
Hmm.
is,
Yeah.
good.
Premier. Sure.
And that's part of, I think, the whole concept of what you're even being trying to be part of.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's amazing to me what cycling and trails bring to the communities. And there's people are not aware of the impact that these recreations and these activities can have on the communities. And you know, going back to the small communities, there it's a lot of transient traffic coming through, but man, they stop and they'll swing into your bar or your local,
Hmm.
you know, greasy spoon or whatever it is.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
there's money that's being spent all of the time.
yeah.
And
Well,
not only that, but you're introducing people to your community, and
yeah.
it's a great thing.
Well, and I totally understand that, especially on the Wabash. We're going to talk about that right now. You've got
Yeah.
an event coming up in a week or so, and that's kind of exciting. What's that called?
So this is ULLR Bash. Um, it's probably our biggest fundraiser of the year. It has become, and this is only our third annual now,
Hmm.
but it's quite the adventure too, I guess. It was decided that we needed something, an activity in the winter, and so what better way to do that than to try and find the average coldest day of the year and plan a bicycle event. So
Okay.
that's basically what it is. And Uller, our mascot, Uller is a Nordic god, right? And so what he is in charge of is snow and thunder. And so he's kind of, you know, he's a funny little character, but um, that's kind of the theme is this Nordic winter. And there are it's hosted at Toby Jack's down in Mineola, and they've been
Yep.
a great partner for us.
Yep.
And they put on these outdoor games, you know, winter related. They're kind of silly, but um, they're great fun, like snow bowling and things like this. It's just
Okay.
a great time. And then inside, those events are outside, and the bicycle ride. It's a ride. It's not a huge ride, but it's a good time for people to get out on their bike. And so it starts in Mineola, goes backward this year to the Margaritaville along the trace. It's a wide portion. It's about not quite halfway down the trail, but it's going to go there, turn around, come back. And then at the event, we have a ton of live auction and a silent auction merchandise. I think we're up to like 100 or so items right now.
I
Um,
saw that on the Facebook page from last year, the gift packs that were out there. It's just fantastic.
yes, we have had great support so far, you know, and they're all coming from local businesses and just individuals putting things together. And it's a very wide variety, and it's not necessarily bicycle centric. There's plenty of bicycle esque
Hmm.
things, but you know, food and adult beverages, just experiences. Getting back to how we partner with the county conservation at one package is a day of sledding for 4 people at Mount Crescent. There's a package for a cabin rental at Arrowhead Park, and then another cabin rental at Hitchcock, or not Hitchcock. Yes, Hitchcock Park, which is
Okay.
adjacent to Mount Crescent Ski Inn.
Right, right.
So
Yeah,
we
I've
can make a
hiked
whole
there.
weekend of that.
When I was doing a lot of hiking, I've hiked at Hitchcock. So,
Yes, yeah,
yeah,
beautiful place.
great
So,
place
and
for
then
that.
many other things. There'll be food there. You know, of course, the Toby Jacks will be serving beverages, and there's something for everybody. It's just a fun
Right,
time. We even have a
right.
cash machine.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So it starts at Mineola
yep,
and then goes up to Margaritaville, which is about 5 miles or so
yep,
one
right,
way. And so it's about a 10-mile total ride if you ride just from Mineola. So,
yes, right.
okay.
So the first year we had this event, we started at the trailhead in Council Bluffs near Lewis Central School,
Hmm.
and we were riding down the trail. That was the point. But just so happened the night before we had a very heavy snow, and
Okay.
the parking lot was full of people that were going to attend. However, only about five made it through, and
Yeah.
so bless them all. They pretty much everyone still came down and had a
Hmm.
great time. But
Okay.
we thought maybe it might be a little bit smarter to kind of have more of a, you know, starting in at the same place kind of a deal this time.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
did it the same way last year, I guess, and it was successful. People had a great time. You know,
Well, knowing the trails like I do, I know leaving from Mineola is slightly uphill, small
yeah,
grade going uphill to Margaritaville. Then it's all downhill coming back. So it's
right,
kind of
right.
nice.
That's right. Spend
It's
your
not that
energy
hard.
first.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not that hard. Um, so let's see what's the forecast like right now? What are
Well,
you
it
seeing?
keeps getting whiter and whiter. I think it's supposed to be a pretty decent day, about freezing, I believe, but regardless, this is a rain or shine event. We're going to have it. So
Yeah.
hopefully it's just going to be, we're just setting the stage and the day of. I think they're not calling for any moisture day of right now, as far as I know.
Yeah. Well,
But this
hopefully it's
forecast is
going to
changing.
stay, relatively cold
Yeah.
throughout the week leading up to it so that the trail really hardens up. I I know the gal that runs Happy Trails down in Silver City,
Mhm.
and she always puts out daily reports, and she's talking
Yeah.
about how the trail's a little bit soft right now, and well,
Yeah.
you should stay off then.
Right.
And it's always best to have wider tires
Hmm.
on your bike if you're riding, the Wabash anyhow.
Right.
So that would be, and it, just a suggestion or a tip to anybody that's going to be participating that way. But it's not just that you have to ride. There's multiple ways that you can participate in this fundraiser that you've got going.
Yes, absolutely. So you can just come down and participate. The system we have in place for the silent auction is through Qtigo, and if you follow our Facebook page or our website, you can find that link. It's pretty easy, and you have to sign up through Qtigo. But then all of the items are listed online. You can bid online. It'll even give you notifications so that you don't lose your
Hmm.
item that you're trying to gain.
Hmm.
So that's one of the things. We'll have multiple raffles going on throughout the day. Um, One of them, like I mentioned, is a cash machine where if you whatever money we're collecting for the raffle, you get in the machine and see if you can grab some cash yourself. And that's that's fun.
Yeah.
Um, there's just a sundry of things. Live auction will kind of wrap it up. There's some great items on that. We have a quarter beef raffle that we're doing, and then also another raffle from another great supporter and sponsor, Extreme Wheels Bike Shop in Council Bluffs.
Okay.
It's $1,000 worth of merchandise from them for a $5 raffle ticket, or $20 will get you 5 tickets. So,
Yep. And
um,
I know
you know,
those guys a little bit, so I've bumped into them on the trails and over in
yeah,
Council Bluffs
yeah.
riding.
So there's plenty going on. It's a good time. It's a great place just to people watch too, because there's all kinds of characters there, and
Yeah.
it's
So
fun. You
you
don't
can
have to be
sign
a
up just
bicycle.
for the auction if you just want to do the
Yep,
auction. You
yep,
can take and participate, come down there, and that includes, the silent auction, and then of course doing the ride, and then
yep.
you're looking for people to, buy raffle tickets and whatever else too. So
That's
got a
right.
lot of things going on there. That sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a great time, and it wraps up about 4 or 5 o'clock, so it's not late into the night.
So it starts about
Only
when?
it starts at 9 in the morning. So
9 in the morning.
and it's not a heavy start. Everyone will start rolling in around 10 or so. Things will probably start kicking off, and that's expected to be about, I believe, when the bicycle ride takes off, and they'll be gone for maybe an hour and a half. Some things will still be going on at Toby Jack's. You don't have to, we'll try to keep everybody entertained and having a good time. And once all the bicyclists come back from the ride, that's when things will really start to ramp up and get a little bit loud, I suppose. But it's fun. People
Hmm.
have people enjoy it every year. They can't wait for the next one.
Okay. So this is the third annual, and you've had some, obviously some good success the last two.
Yes.
Um, In terms of numbers, what are you sort of looking at right now? Do you have any idea? I mean, it's
Um,
always kind of a guess depending upon
it
the
is a
weather.
guess. People are slow to register for anything. Um, our history has been about 150 to 200 participants, so that we're anticipating that again.
Okay.
Weather dependent, but that's what
Hmm.
we're counting on.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I know with some of the things that I've helped run or even participate in, it's almost like, hey, wait until the last minute to take and actually register because it's
Yeah,
an outdoor event and whether or not it's going to be nice weather or not. Well,
yeah,
as they say in cycling, there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. So,
yes,
it depends
perfect.
upon what you're going to be wearing.
Yeah, we had an experience. We had a fall event that was intended to be like a nice, cool fall evening, and we had one of those hot spells, and so all of we had a little campfire set up and whatnot. And it was
Mhm.
tough. We didn't have great crowds for that one, but you win some, you lose some. You just never know. But you
Yep,
just keep
yep,
plugging away.
yep, that's right. So this event, the ULLR Bash, is going to be a snow or shine event,
Yes,
which
sir.
is a little different. Just, so uh, the club that I'm part of, we just had a freeze your fanny ride. So
Yeah.
you get out there and ride in the winter and
That's
cold.
right.
And it was a cool day, so it wasn't too,
Yeah.
it was sort of named appropriately. So
Right. Well, that was kind of the idea, that this year's not typical, but usually everyone's kind of cooped up for a while, and this would give folks an opportunity to get outside and get some fresh air and do
mhm,
something fun for a good cause. So that
yeah.
was the thought of it initially.
Yeah. Is there anything else I should have asked that I didn't ask?
No, it's been a great interview. I just want to, encourage people to come and check out our trail system, support our organizations, talk to your local, government and leadership, whoever they may be, and whatever organization they may be in, and express to them how important these things are. I guess one thing I would like to touch on is another aspect of trails. In part of your questionnaire, you asked about you had a comment about um, bicyclists or cyclists' rights to roads. And, you know, I, I love that. And I think it's very important that people understand that you treat a bicyclist the same as you would any other vehicle. However, our motivation is to put folks in a safer situation, and especially along the trail or the section we're building on. We have heavy farm and truck traffic, and that's a huge motivation for me. And I just I'm trying to find ways all the time to integrate into those industries and those niches to help them understand that there's a purpose for these trails, and
Yep.
it's safety for them, safety for us,
Right.
and it just makes life better and easier for all of us. So
Yep.
that's
No,
one thing.
I a strong supporter of a trail system. Yes, you have to, you sometimes you ride on the road. I do that.
Yeah,
But as a cyclist, I have to be aware of what's going on as much as a driver needs to be
yeah,
aware of me.
absolutely.
So it's one of those things where I make sure I wear some pretty bright colors and I have a
Yeah,
lot of lights on, and
that's right.
hopefully I am seen because I'm looking for you too. So.
Yeah, great.
Anyhow, Joe, I really appreciate the time that you've given, and hopefully the ULLR Bash is going to be a great success for you. And looking forward to many more of those and the expanded trail system over there. I mean, I was introduced even just to the First Avenue Trail just this year, and of course it just opened this year, but it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
whoa, this
yeah.
is
It's great.
really nice. This is
Yes,
really, really nice. So,
yes,
and
yeah,
connecting all these things together is just really part of the master plan. And I think that's great. So just want to remind all the other people that are watching to pedal on. Thank you very much.